Hi, this is Joe Spataford. Welcome to another behind the scenes, how we actually drew and designed the film. I got with me today my good buddy and director, Brian Roberts.
Hey everybody, I'm standing in for Chuck today.
Chuck didn't work on this one much. He was up in Canada working on the Pirates Who Don't Do Anything. So this is the Big River Rescue, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how we did it. This first piece of artwork was one of the very first pieces of artwork we did for the film. The director, Brian here, wanted me to find a style that was kind of American. And so I started thinking about old artists, and there was this guy, his name was Thomas Hart Benton. He did a really, really stylized version of America, and his artwork was really illustrative and really very cartoony in a way, and it had a lot of movement. And we tried to translate that into CG, which it's not easy to do, but I think we kept the essence of it.
Well, we eventually just pulled back to kind of bring it back a little more veggie. So it just felt more like a VeggieTales and less like a Thomas Hart Benton painting.
Right, and I think that, you can still see it a little bit in the handling of the clouds and some of the handling of the trees.
So this was a blue sky image that you did when there was not even a script yet. Is that correct?
That's pretty much
we just
right,
said, hey, we want to do a show called Huckleberry Larry, which was the title at the time. And obviously it's set on the Mississippi River, and here's some other story ideas that we're thinking about. So show us what that might look like.
Yep, and and it was fun. This is really where you just play around with your first ideas, and you do a couple of them.
You notice you really nailed Huckleberry's outfit right from the start.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it looks. Okay, so now we're going to show you probably the most changed VeggieTales set that I've ever worked on. This set took on many, many different forms. This was version 1 of this set, and Brian, we actually...
We ended up on version 5, I think,
yeah,
which looked a lot like version 1. We went through a period in the story where it wasn't critical that this location be on the river, so we moved it off the river and put it back in the woods to try to simplify the location. But then as the story kind of developed, I felt like, no, that river location really offered us a lot of great visual potential. It was a nice, bright, sunset setting, and it felt right. It felt like the right place to start the story.
So this was the second version that we had come up with. Now, instead of being at the base of the river, we were now at the top of a mountain where the logging was happening, and the logs would go down the flume all the way to the base. In some ways, I actually like this set a whole lot, but
we also pushed the time of day later here.
Yeah,
and made it a lot more moody.
Yeah, we wanted the opening shot to be Clark Wayne on the river as the sun was going down, because we wanted a bright, cheery way to start off a film instead of it being like dark and nighttime. So we played around a lot with time of day, and we knew we wanted the chase to happen at night, so we figured that this whole interaction, this whole scene would take place during the midday.
Well, and this was also when, story-wise, we were going for a much more mysterious introduction for Little Yimmy, and we were going to try to obscure him and keep him in shadow all the time and not show his face until, much later when he's in Huck's camp. And ultimately, it just felt like all that mystery and mood was actually hurting us because it was making the story too slow and too scary. So that's when we felt like, no, you know what? Let's just go back to the river location. It's much brighter, and it's ultimately a kind of a friendlier location.
Okay, so when all was said and done, we decided to go back to the original space. We lowered the log flume so it wasn't so high off the ground. So we kept that from the previous location.
We also needed a way to get the characters back and forth across the river, so we added that log bridge.
Log bridge. How else would loggers make a bridge? And so it was actually 2 acting sets. It actually turned into 3 acting sets. The chase happened in a forest that was on the left-hand side of the river, and yeah, I mean, it turned into a nice big set, and we did retain that late day kind of feeling instead of that first shot, which has more of a midday or later midday, but we wanted to keep it that late dusk
I don't remember the name of the town, but that rock formation in the background is actually from a town
in Minnesota.
Around the headwaters of the Mississippi. So there's a little bit of reality there. Clark Wayne. This is Potato Clark Wayne. When we first got the script and we had this new character, Clark Wayne, we thought, well, he can be anybody. Let's come up with a brand new guy. And we thought, well, what would be a good southern vegetable? And I thought the potato was appropriate. We hadn't done one, I think, since show 2 in the Forgive-O-Matic. We had the miner from West Virginia.
No, we had we had
and potato.
Potato.
Right, in Sumo of the Opera. So, but potatoes are underrepresented in our cast. So we thought a potato would be a fun Mark Twain spin-off parody character. But we just could never find the right voice for this guy. And so working through that, after casting several great actors who just didn't fit in our veggie world, we ended up having Phil do the voice of George for Clark Wayne, which meant a redesign. So we had to take this potato and turn him into a leek. And that's how we got this next design. I think you thought I was crazy at first, Joe, when I said we had to turn Clark Wayne had to turn George into Clark Wayne. We all kind of wondered how that would look, but I can certainly say I'm thrilled with the end result, and now watching the show can't imagine having done it any other way.
Yeah, I really liked the original design. It was kind of an odd thing, but this was one of the things our buddy Todd Carter had done a lot of the character design, and I really, really liked what he did with Clark Wayne. But then we took this one, and then since we're always parodying Colonel Sanders throughout the whole thing, I was looking at Colonel Sanders and then looking at Mark Twain and trying to combine the two. And all of a sudden, his body just lends itself to a big mustache and that type of hairstyle. I mean, it really worked. So I'm glad. In the end, yeah, like yourself, I couldn't see any other character doing it.
And it's fun to have George back after all these years. This is the second version of the King. We ended up on version 3.
We're always asking ourselves, how much clothes or hair do we have to put on a character in order for you to get that it is the character? Our characters are so familiar. Bob and Larry in the early VeggieTales it was just Bob and Larry. They didn't even have costumes on.
Junior just had a hat.
Yeah, and and as we've gone on, we've been adding hair, we've been adding different clothing, facial hair, whatever you can think of. And what we decided to do was eventually the final version actually was to take the coat off, and that's pretty much it. We knew that. Yeah, you can put it on there and it'll look neat and everything, but it wasn't really. Yeah, it's always a question of when you're trying to make a show just as simple as you possibly can. What do you really need to tell a story? And I don't miss it. There's stuff that we sometimes find ourselves editing out of a script that you miss, but that's only in my head. Most people don't see the show as I imagine.
Unless we tell you, you'll never know. Thanks, Joe.
We just told you. Hey, okay. I won't tell you all the other stuff.
Hopefully this doesn't ruin the film for you.
Now, when we start off a show, and we've done this with all of our shows, and I've learned a lot about this from my buddy Chuck, is basically to pre-visualize the entire show with color. And so what I did was I went into every scene and location and every drawing that I had done for a layout and a lot of some of the storyboards. And I went in and just hand painted moments in the film that I knew were important to the film. And in the end, it comes up with a color script. You basically get to see the entire film laid out right in front of you. You can really play with color to get the feeling across of the ups and downs of a film. It's almost like a soundtrack for the film, but done with color.
The train tracks you never get to see.
Brian has been trying desperately, and I imagine some point in the future you'll just see a train randomly fly through a scene
for no reason.
For no reason whatsoever, because Brian has this love of trains, and we actually built this set to show like this train track and everything. And
Well, we redressed this set because this is Dodgeball City from Mowing the Big Exit, which we also used for Muscatine earlier in the show. Now we're using it as Fort Madison. It needed a train station. So I'm like, well, if we're going to have a train station, we should have train tracks. And, we went through this whole process. We painted this painting. Our friend Eric Thomas, who does some freelance work for us, designed, these lovely train tracks. And we built it all and textured it all. And then at the last minute in editorial, I changed a wide shot of the train station to be a close-up of the sign. And didn't realize until afterwards when I did that, I cut the only shot that had these train tracks.
he destroyed his dream, everybody.
Well, it still didn't have a train, just tracks.
Well, you could hear the train coming.
You still can.
See, that's mystery. See, everybody imagines a train track,
Yes.
and that makes it more real in our minds. This was one of my earliest sketches of Clark Wayne sitting on the dock. It was kind of one of those things where it was just like, we decided to change the color theme of it, but I always really, really liked this color of the location, but it needed to be darker to fit in with
Well, and it
the
just
next
needed
shot.
to be a little sappier. I mean, this is a beautiful, very realistic, kind of image, but ultimately, emotionally, it doesn't do the same thing as what we ended up with. And we needed kind of that syrupy, purple and pink kind of sunset to cap the show off. But it's a beautiful painting. Oh, the old log ride.
Yeah, we revised the log ride a little bit as time had gone on. Originally, we had like these entrances. It was supposed to really mimic the opening scene of the film.
And it actually had an interior that we cut, which we're about to see, right?
Yeah, I think we have a shot of the interior. And then we go inside. Now, this was how we were originally envisioning. If we were to actually go inside this logging camp mountain, what would it do? And it was fun for me to play around with this because, I had to think, okay, well, if you go on, like a ride you'd see at a major amusement park, and you had to try to remember, okay, well, how do they cheat, loggers actually cutting down trees or imitate a logging camp? And we just thought it'd be fun if they had just kind of nicely painted flats, almost made out of like plywood.
Yeah, but really
painted
simply,
plywood.
they'd be really simply animated. So like you see those loggers in the middle, they would just kind of rock back and forth to make a sawing motion. I love the little gag on the right side of the log that looks like it's about to fall on the boat. Because that type of gag is in like every ride like this.
Yeah.
So I like kind of the feeling that this, you could actually go and make this into a ride if you wanted to.
This is the initial drawing of the World's Fair.
I haven't seen this in a long time.
You can actually see that the very far right is what we actually ended up shooting in.
That one Indian building and the mountain.
And the mountain, yeah, but originally we had a building
like
from
Bavarian
Germany,
building, an English building,
a
German
castle, an English castle. It's one of those things where you realize as time goes on what you really need to do to tell a story, and you only have a certain amount to tell it. And when you're blue skying a location, or when you're just imagining what it could be, you do what you can to keep those original ideas intact, but at the end of the day, you only have so much time to build it, so you do as much as you can to keep that feeling in. But we had a pagoda in there and everything. We did manage to sneak that back in there in the background flat later on. But yeah, you make every time you do a show, you make little compromises.
Well, not compromises. You have defining moments where you decide what's important and just do that. Ultimately, that allows you to really focus on the stuff that's important instead of focusing on what ultimately are unnecessary details.
Well, right. And, when we got to the fair, what was important was the chase. The chase and little Jimmy running to find his mama and him being chased down by Dooley. All these kind of fanciful, kind of, big theme park kind of buildings that you would walk by, you don't really need them. At the end of the day, you just need maybe one or two to get you the flavor of it. This was the first take at Huck's camp. Originally we weren't sure about whether or not Bob would have a building.
Well, this was the version when we didn't even have Tom in the story.
Oh, really?
This was back when Huck lived by himself.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it changed so much, but the set didn't change all that much. We just kind of added and subtracted a few different things from it. But we always knew when we were building these sets that you can only have so many real modeled trees on a set at one time. When we were back doing Jonah, we tried doing all these pine trees on a set. There was a bus going down a road, and it was the opening shot of the movie, and it almost crashed our entire render farm, which there
was like 50,000 trees, and every one was a modeled tree.
Yeah, and what we've learned to do since then is we model like maybe the first 2 rows, and then behind it you'll see flat renders, and even behind that. And a flat render is basically you take a picture of a model tree and just place it there, and then as you go back even further beyond those, it's just a painting, and it works. Ideally, on the next show, I would like to try to get we always paint it so that we can technically do what the old 2D guys did, which was to put different layers of mountains on different levels and clouds moving on different levels, and I really want to get to a point where we can just, animate the whole background like an old 2D background. So that's what I'm shooting for next time. We'll see if we get it.
Originally, instead of building Jerkyland, Huck wanted to build a convenience store. And in development, we felt like maybe we could make that a little more exciting than a convenience store. However, I love the design of this location. But in the end, I basically traded this location for the riverboat that we use. And I feel like that was a good trade. Although this would have been a great place to end the show, I think the riverboat is even stronger.
Yeah, it's fun that they just talk about building like Tom and Huck's potential future. We just kind of hint at it. I like the ending of this film. It's more cheery and lighthearted.
So that's all our art, Joe.
Yeah, that's
well, it's not all our art.
There was a lot of art.
For every piece here, there's 10 other versions and 10 other pieces.
In the end, it turned out really nice, and
we made a lot of great art for the show, Joe, and you did a great job.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm looking forward to the next film. So I'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
All right, take care.
Kids, welcome to the Big River Rescue video trivia game. You can start with either the easy questions or the hard ones. If you get all the hard ones correct, there's a bonus clip to watch at the end of the game. Oh, hello there. Glad you could stop by. I'm Clark Wayne, a storyteller. It's a perfect night for a story, don't you think? Sorry, wrong answer. Try the next question. Unlike the other loggers, Big Jim was not an employee of Dooley & Sons, Inc. 5 years ago, he was caught in Elk River, Minnesota with 1,100 pounds of stolen turkey jerky. As the sole witness, Mr. Dooley testified against Jim in court. Oh, hello there. Glad you could stop by. I'm Clark Wayne, a storyteller. It's a perfect night for a story, don't you think? Good job. Here's another one. Unlike the other loggers, Big Jim was not an employee of Dooley and Sons, Inc. 5 years ago, he was caught in Elk River, Minnesota with 1,100 pounds of stolen turkey jerky. As the sole witness, Mr. Dooley testified against Jim in court. Good job. Here's another one.
Hey, have you thought any more about joining me in my new business? There's a lot of action in tax preparation.
I still don't know what that is.
Well, I'm going to help people prepare their federal tax returns each year. It's very complicated, but I've got a good head for numbers. I'm sure you could pick it up, too. Could you give me a hand?
Good job. Here's another one.
This is a signal flare. If you see him, set this off and we'll come running.
Why did he tear up the factory?
He was looking for something.
What?
Turkey jerky.
Good job. Here's another one.
Look, Tom, I have it all figured out. A couple hours ahead is a little town called Muscatine, so we can hop off there and put little Yimmy on the train to St. Louis. We can walk back home by Thursday. Plenty of time.
Fine. Okay, Huck, Muscatine. But no further.
Good job. Here's another one.
Come back with my donuts, you thieves! My good baker, your own sign said free sample. It also said take one. Simply a rounding error on my part. Rock.
Good job. Here's another one.
But I want to help little Yimmy, too.
I've got news for you. I didn't hurt little Yimmy. I'm not the one who sent him up the river away from his mama. I didn't hurt him, so I shouldn't have to help him.
Sometimes, not helping is the same as hurting.
What? That makes no sense.
You got it right. Good job. You got all the easy questions right. Press continue if you're ready for the really hard ones. This is a story about just such a fella, and to tell it, we're gonna have to take a little trip down the old river ourselves. Hello, Chato.
Hello, Kimosabi.
Good job. Here's another one. Good job. Here's another one.
Once I own this land and finish my theme park, I'll be selling tickets and turkey jerky to all the jerky-loving folks on the riverboats. I'm gonna call it Jerky Land. Mr. Jerky will be my mascot.
Good job. Here's another one.
So, you aren't looking for turkey jerky. You just want to sing with your mama.
In St. Louis. She said, meet me in St. Louis, Louis.
But your name is Jim.
My middle name is Louis.
Good job. Here's another one.
Wait a minute! He tore up a factory!
He couldn't have. He's allergic to turkey jerky. See?
Huh? Little Yimmy sings the I'm allergic to turkey jerky blues?
Good job. Here's another one.
You're really a king and a duke?
Indeed.
Of what?
Well, my good tomato, you are looking at the king of Memphis, and my good friend here, the Duke of New Orleans.
Pleased to meet you.
Good job. Here's another one.
If you look closely, you'll see my name engraved in that log.
I don't see anything.
Lean a little further. You'll see it.
No. Still don't see
You got it right. Congratulations. You got every answer right. Thanks for playing. See you next time. Hey kids, welcome to the sing-along section. Choose to sing along with the veggies or sing all by yourself.
Hey kids, this story's called Helpers or Heroes. If you'd like, I can read it to you, or you can choose to read it by yourself. Find this and more at Christian stores at bigidea.com.
Hi, and welcome to the Huckleberry word puzzle game. Try and answer Huck's picture word puzzles. At the end, there's a bonus clip for you to watch. Now that looks like my good pal Droppy. He's a drop of water. Drop minus dr is, that's op, plus c is, can you guess this one? Cop! The answer is cop. Let's try another one. Now let's see here. That looks like a hatchet plus T is... Fatchet? No, that can't be right. Oh, that's an axe! Axe plus T is... Tax! Tax is the answer. Did you get that one right? Well, I've seen and written a lot of these in my time. That's a book. Book minus B plus H is, can you get it? Hook! I bet you got that one right. Now there's a pretty picture of someone's laundered hosiery hanging out to dry. A sock, if you will. Sock minus S is ock. Ock plus R is can you guess what this one is? Rock! Rock is the answer. This fella's upper lip has something on it. Do you know what that thing is? The king either picked up a Davenport caterpillar or, that's a mustache. Now, the puzzle says minus tash plus catine. Do you know what the answer to this one is? Muscatine. Good job! Now you can watch that bonus clip or play again. That's a picture of yours truly, with an arrow pointing to my noggin. Hope it doesn't hit me. Okay, so the arrow is pointing to my head, minus the H plus FL. Fled? That doesn't sound right. Oh, the arrow is pointing to my hair. My stately head of hair. Hair minus H plus FL is, can you guess it? Flare! This is a picture of a dollar bill, and that's some wood. So, dollar wood? No, that's an amusement park in Tennessee, I think. Oh, it's a dollar bill. Bill plus, board. That's bill plus board equals billboard. Did you get that one? This one looks a little more complicated. Oh, we can see that there's a canoe, and that's a picture of the canned tomato fished out of the river. So, canoe minus can, that's, oo, plus ball plus n. Ooballen. No, that's not right. Do you know what this one is? Balloon. This is the old man's walking stick. Do you know what another word for this thing is? A cane, that's right. Now, cane minus C is ain. Ain plus CH. Do you know it? Chain. This looks like a piece of wood. Minus PL? There's no PL in wood. Another word for this is a plank. Plank minus PL is ank plus B. What do we get? Bank! Did you get that one right? Good job! Now you can watch that bonus clip or play again. That's one of the loggers, isn't it? Logger minus L is what? Auger. Auger minus ger is og. Plus D, do you know what that is? Dog! Now, if Huck would have just showed a picture of Steve, we could have killed two birds with one stone, so to speak. Do you know what this object is? That's a barrel, isn't it? Barrel minus EL is, can you guess what the answer is? Bear! That's my buddy Pa Grape. Pa minus GR, that doesn't sound right. How do you take the ger out of Pa? I guess he could be angry. Or maybe that's a grape minus GR. Yeah, that's it. Grape minus GR is ape. Plus C is cape. Now this one's a little harder. Do plus Native American guide? No, wait, I know. How about P? Do plus P would be doopy? But hey, hang on, there's more here. Take away the P and add on an L. Now let's put it together. Aha! Dooley! That's the answer. This looks like a paddle. Now, a paddle plus 1D is, well, I think it's still paddle, sort of. That can't be right. Well, what's another word for what this is? Or, that's it. Or plus D is, door. Good job. Now you can watch that bonus clip or play again. Now that looks like my good pal Droppy. He's a drop of water. Drop minus DR is, well, that's up. This looks like a paddle. Now, a paddle plus 1D is, well, I think it's still paddle, sort of. That can't be right. Well, what's another word for what this is? Or, that's it. Or plus D is, door. Good job. Now you can watch that bonus clip or play again. Welcome to the How to Draw section. Watch a Big Idea artist draw characters from the show. Also, look on the DVD-ROM for a printable draw-by-number sheet for both the characters. Hey everyone, welcome back to another family activity. Today we're going to do something a little different. You see, every day we get letters from kids just asking, what can I possibly do to help others when I'm just a kid? Well, I'm here to tell you that there are lots of ways you can help others. You could start by simply helping your dad carry out the trash or by helping your mom wash the dishes. Maybe you could send a card to a friend who's not feeling well. You could even help your brother or sister clean up their room. This is Lucy. She had a simple idea to sell greeting cards that she'd drawn herself.
I draw cards with animals and things on them that I can sell for $2 each.
She could use the money to have a water well built in Africa that would provide clean water to families there.
We were on the computer and Lucy saw a video clip of children in Africa walking miles and miles to get water every day.
That was really sad, and I wanted to do something that helped.
She loved to draw. She decided to draw pictures and make greeting cards, and she was gonna sell them to her friends and relatives, and so we just let her go for it.
Lucy really wasn't sure how much money she could raise, but she decided to give it a try.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So far, do you know how many wells she's been able to build? More than 6 wells for African families. That's over $16,000. Each well can serve enough clean water for 3,500 people a year. Wow! That's an amazing story of a girl who saw people who needed help and then helped them.
It was amazing.
Sit down as a family and talk about some ways you could help people around you. Whether it's helping someone around the world or someone in your own neighborhood, remember, God loves it when we help others. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you next time. Goodbye! Here's a glimpse of just some of the goodies available at the studio store, online at bigidea.com. Here's a glimpse. 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 Here's a glimpse of just some of the goodies available at the studio store, online at bigidea.com.